Welcome to this new episode of The Disabled Life. The purpose of this podcast is to tell people how I live my life. The name I'm using on the podcast now is The Disabled Guy, because I felt that you needed to hear something as opposed to just my voice there. I'm a disabled male living in Florida with cerebral palsy. I'm here to tell you how I live my life and some of the volunteer work that I do and how I manage to do it with cerebral palsy. Without further ado, let's go into the episode. What I'm going to talk to you about today is something different. I'm going to talk to you about one particular surgery when I was a child that I remember. Those of you that have followed me knew and heard that I had a hip surgery and I was in a body cast for weeks. And then I was at home and I had a music issue where I tried to request a song and things happened. And they didn't do it because they told me I had to go to school. But now, let me go back when this started. Okay, when I was going to have the surgery, my mom was the one that used to take me to the hospital because my dad was working full time and he didn't have the time to take off to take me to the doctors. Which is good and okay. So we went to the doctor. He had said that I needed to schedule a surgery. That we needed to schedule a surgery for me, and it was a hip surgery. So we were talking about certain things about surgery and certain things and all, and the stuff that was age appropriate for me to hear. But here comes the ironic part that I forgot, and I'm going to tell you about this right now. So came a point when that my mom told me to go outside and wait for her. So she stayed with the orthopedist, the guy that was doing the orthopedist that was doing the surgery, my specialist. So I went outside. I'm like, why are they doing that? But I'm like, okay, fine. Maybe it's something they don't want me to hear about. So I found out later what the situation was. There was a risk factor because of some of the surgery issues that I could have lost my bladder. They didn't want me to know about that when I was a child. But I didn't know this at the time, but when they did the surgery, I kind of woke up from surgery. I remember I was being walked. I was put on a stretcher. And I was put in the hallway or going to the room or something. I don't know where I was going. Must have been going to the room. And I said to my mom, I need to use the bathroom. I need to use the bathroom. So I'm sorry if it's TMI. But and she smiled. I'm like, why? That made no sense to me. Why would somebody smile when you say you're going to the bathroom? But the thing was, they thought that was a risk of surgery, that I could lose my sensation or what have you. So the funny thing is that I had forgotten about this thing, and I've had a couple of times when I had to deal with that, and only that once that I remember. Only once when I was a child. Secondly, when I was an adult, I didn't have the surgery at that point, and I haven't had it, and I don't need to have it. So I was, just thinking. I was just thinking about it the other day. I'm like, okay. So the moral of the story here today is that sometimes parents don't tell kids everything. Don't tell kids everything about surgeries because it might scare them. But I say, I understand that but learn as much about the surgery, be as informed as possible. There's some YouTubers that are this is what I'm going to say. There's some YouTubers It's called, the YouTube channel is called the Miller Fam. Shout out to the Miller Fam. They have two children, two adopted children. I'm sorry, two adopted children that have special needs. One is worse than the other one. One has a brain disorder called moya moya. I don't mind talking about this because they say this, and they have another a girl that they adopted at 12 years old. That that she has some stuff in her mouth. She has a cleft lip issue and some other issues. She's completely involved in her surgery process. It was 17 when they did it. Now she's 18, but she was completely involved. I was not, because I was a child, and they didn't want to scare me. I can understand that. That's something that's normal for them. That's normal. That is something they have to do. So I'm gonna say this: a shout out to the Miller Fam, and they also have a YouTube called, I think it's Hey Beautiful People. I should have checked, but I don't. I should have checked, but I did not. So anyway, this is a podcast that felt that I needed to do for you, because for you to understand a little bit of background on surgeries and risks, and I was never afraid of the risks of surgery, because I wasn't too in tune with them. I knew I needed it. Going to the hospital was a nerve-wracking day for me, and it always is. I remember one day I got sick I got sick after I ate in the cafeteria, so that was not good. But anyway, and also I know to this day that I was having a procedure, and I was getting general anesthesia for that procedure. I'm not gonna mention what the procedure is or what for, but I was getting general anesthesia. So I went ahead, and I was dry heaving because I was just nervous. I was sick to my stomach because of nerves, and so what they had to do is they had to give me a through the same IV. They had to give me some anti-nausea meds, because they didn't want me to puke during surgery. That was a thing. Okay, so what happened then is they put me to sleep. They did the procedure, and so they did that, and I woke up like 20 minutes. I think it was a short procedure. It took like 20 minutes. It took longer to take me up there and to have me prepped than the procedure itself. So what they did, so then I came down, and I'm like, this is it. Oh God. Yeah. One time, there was an incident when I was a child also, that I had a situation where I was dropped, and the therapist fell with me. So I don't know. I got a phobia from being on my back. During a procedure one time, they wanted me to go over to the bed, to like a surgery table. So I told them, look. I explained to them what happened, and they said to me, okay. No, let me go back. The first time they did a procedure, right in the stretcher. They told me to go on my side, and I fell asleep. But the second time they did this procedure, they wanted me to go over to the bed, to the surgery table. Sorry, not the bed. So I told them what the story was. I told them I had a phobia. As a kid, I didn't understand, and I didn't know I could advocate for myself. I would freak out because of that. It was simple. If I would have known, I would have advocated for myself. But at that point, they didn't listen. But as an adult, they have to listen, because if they don't listen, then things can happen. But anyway, so that's what I'm saying. Always advocate. Always advocate. When you don't like something, talk to your surgeons, talk to your doctors, so that they can fix it. They can make it as comfortable as possible. They may not be able to fix whatever is going on, but please advocate for yourself, because nobody will in that room. You have to advocate for yourself, because you will always have to be an advocate for yourself. You cannot let them. You have to let them talk, but you still have to learn that you have to advocate. You do your own advocacy. You're the only one who's gonna have to deal with the problem. If a problem occurs, you're the one who has to deal with it. If it's something under your control. What I mean by a problem is somebody doing something that annoys you or hurts you because you didn't advocate. That's not good. So I say advocate, because that's important, very important. And I'll say again, and I'll say phobias are nothing to be ashamed of. We have them, and we know how to deal with them. What is funny about this phobia, it doesn't affect me when I lay down on my bed. I lay down on my back. I lay down on my back on my bed all the time. No problem whatsoever. But yes, if a bed is too big, yes, sometimes it bothers me, and I understand it and I respect it, and I know how to deal with it. When that happens, I lay on my side, on my stomach, but on my normal bed, no, it's fine. I have no problem with that. Man, because I don't know what happened, but there was a phobia. I know what happened, and I know it's a phobia because you can't get over it. A phobia is horrible to get over, and the reason I was decided to do this story, these two things, is so you would know to advocate for yourself, and I talked about the surgery, so you would know how parents handle surgery. It's something hard, because when you're a kid, you need surgery. But surgery can be a scary situation. In closing, let me say thank you for listening to this episode of The Disabled Life. You can follow me on the following platforms. You can follow me at Good Pods. You can leave comments, messages there. You can also follow me on Twitter at The Disabled Guy. And you can also listen to me on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and many others. Once again, thank you for listening, and I'll